September 2025. Markus Reinhardt is sitting in his tax advisory office in Vienna, in the 7th district, staring at his screen. Now, obviously, he's a tax advisor since 20 years. He has millions of revenue flowing through his systems every single quarter. Now, what is he doing? He's reading Microsoft's terms of service for Copilot for the 4th or the 5th time. And his partner walks in and says, Markus, Hamas, which means Markus, are we ready? And Markus puts his foot down and says, I'm not sending our data to the US. Look, in this moment, let's understand something. Markus is not paranoid. He's not a conspiracy theorist. He's just one of these so-called Datenschutzdinosaurier that we always talk about in this podcast. What is he actually doing? Actually, he's doing exactly what every single compliance consultant tells him to do. Look, we need an AI, his partner says. The Steuerberater down the road is already using it for client summaries, but we need it for more. Now, Markus says, I know. There must be a European solution, something local, something GDPR compliant, something that doesn't send Frau Huber's Einkommensteuererklärung through a data center in Virginia. It must be here in Austria. They start typing in the internet, Austria AI providers, on-premise GDPR. And the first result that pops up, LocalMind GmbH. Oh, that's interesting, he says. It's in Innsbruck, Austria, his partner says. And what do they read? Your AI, trained on your data, hosted on German and Austrian servers. My God, every single word sounds like music to his ears. He hears 100% GDPR compliance. He hears full data sovereignty and local and secure. He clicks himself through the website, and there's even a blog post from their sister company, Morgen Digital. The dark side of AI and how to avoid data protection risks. Markus laughs. These guys get it. He calls a number, and obviously somebody answers with an Austrian accent. What do they say? Well, look here. In 4 Wochen, Hamas. So in 4 weeks, we will implement this for you. It's going to be hosted here in Austria, and your data will not leave the European soil. Markus sleeps well, but in this moment, he has no idea that every single client file that he has uploaded is already sitting on the server that any random person on the internet can access with a demo account. And today's story is no hacking required, no sophisticated attack, just somewhere in Germany, a curious IT professional is about to become a detective.
The newsroom buzz, the scandal brewed, whispers dance, the facts pursued. LocalMind.ai, sleek and neat, but the vibe it read all incomplete.
His name doesn't really matter. Imagine we call him Thomas. Thomas is always the good guy. In my friends of circles, all the Thomases I know are just really good guys. Now, imagine Thomas is running a small IT consulting company in Bavaria. I mean, he has 10, 12 employees, and he specializes on helping the Mittelstand, so these SMEs, to evaluate new software. And just a week ago, he gets a call from an Austrian customer saying, yeah, what do you think about this Austrian AI platform? Yeah, LocalMind. Now, Thomas does what a good consultant does. He says, I'm not quite sure. Let me find out and I'll get back to you. In the evening, he switches on his light. Typical coder, they start working at 11 at night when it's quiet. So he goes on their website, he clicks try demo, and he registers with his work email. Now, what's already interesting to him is you don't need any email verification. There's no approval process, and he gets instant access. Fantastic. He logs in. Oh, looks slick. Nice interface. Clean design. And up there, he sees a button. admin panel. Well, this is interesting. I thought I'm in a demo account. Why is there an admin panel? Okay, he clicks on the button and he sees the entire user list of the company LocalMind. Hundreds of organizations. Stadt Kiel, it's a German city administration. Berliner Volksbank, a bank. No, let's continue. Staatsanwaltschaft, a German public prosecutor's office, and even an insurance company. He understands in this moment, these aren't demo accounts. These are real customer accounts. Now, Thomas thinks, okay, there must be a mistake. He sits in his chair and he says, this is probably a sandbox environment. Sandbox environment it's not real data, it's play data, often that developers use to be able to work on the product safely. So he just clicks on one of the accounts and he says, okay, let me look at this German city administration AI workspace. He sees the entire chat history, their files and their documents. Okay, Thomas thinks I am hallucinating, so he closes the entire browser and he opens it again. Still there, still admin access, and now he switches on his hacker brain. He's not a hacker, but a hacker is somebody who understands what needs to be done. So what does he do in this moment? Because maybe it's a mistake. He starts documenting everything, screenshots, notes, timestamps. Then he starts exploring. He does not want to damage anything. He just wants to understand how bad is this really. And what he finds out over the next 48 hours will keep the entire AI community awake for the next months to come.
Passwords guessed, firewalls fell, algorithms spun, a cryptic spell.
Thomas continues to dig. Let's see. Oh, wait, here's LocalMind's internal Wikipedia page. So he found a link in the admin panel and it loads. Full access. What does the wiki contain? Everything. Infrastructure documentation, setup guides, plain text credentials. Here are the login details of everybody, everywhere. You understand this? An API key for OpenAI, which means he could have copied this and exploited this and had free OpenAI access. Or wait, database connections with strings and passwords. He could have downloaded this and sold this for millions on the darknet. And then one password for the root server. What the hell? 123 $. No, I'm not making this up. This is now really cool. This is documented in the incident report. Thomas is like, come on, this is not even bad security. This is no security. And now, what does he do? He looks through the infrastructure map on the wiki and he finds something called a jump host. If you don't know what a jump host is, it's just a gateway. It's a door that opens to what the customer sees. But wait, why would you choose LocalMind? Because it's safe, because it's isolated, because it's secure. But each customer was supposed to have that. But now that is the whole selling point. Now the jump host, it has root access to each and every single customer's data. Let me explain what this means in simple terms. Now imagine you're a bank and you hire a security company to build you a vault, okay? And they say, look here, your vault is really good. It's maximum security, air-gapped, isolated. Everything is awesome, okay? But then you discover that all the vaults are actually connected by one single master hallway. And the security company has a key, and you know, the key is hidden under the doormat. And on the doormat, it's written, here is the key. That's what Thomas found. So he uses now the jump host credentials, and he connects to a customer's virtual machine. Imagine Berlin Bank. So now he's inside the virtual machine of Berlin Bank. So what can he do? Well, now he can log into the bank's Outlook mailboxes, access their SharePoints, read their CRM data, and see the entire customer information.
The vibe was off, the code was cracked, secrets spilled, no turning back. A playful twist, a mystery steep, the watchdog blinked and data seized.
Thomas is not even trying to hack. Thomas is documenting everything that he's finding. Scanned ID cards and passports from what seems to appear from a hotel customer. No, medical prescriptions. Maybe it was your medical prescriptions, or complete prosecution case files. Maybe somebody murdered a person and the entire prosecution case files from the German state attorney he has access to. And obviously, remember the customer we're talking about here, tax return data, all exposed. And he can now document, did it happen just a minute ago? Was he unlucky? No. He can document that this happened for at least 7 months. But here is where the story gets really disturbing and dark. Thomas digs into LocalMind's code base. Code base just means where they are coding. And because he has access to their Git repositories, because they have all their passwords inside the wiki, he looks a bit and he sees the commit messages. Commit messages were the changes that were made. And it's written, look at this. Added authentication, ChatGPT suggestion. Fix security bug, Claude said this would work. And it hits him and he finally realizes it. The entire platform was vibe coded. Now, let me explain vibe coding. You all know it, but just for those who don't, it's a trend where developers use AI to write code, but they don't fully understand it. It's kind of you go to ChatGPT and you say, please write me a legal contract to sell my house. And you get 20 pages. It looks very impressive, like legalese. And you sign it without reading it because, hey, AI said it's good. And the LocalMind founders, they were building a startup on steroids, moving fast, breaking things. But what they broke was not only code. It was the trust of 150 organizations and also potentially, we don't know it yet, thousands of citizens whose data was now exposed. Because what do we know? Well, industry research shows that 77% of all AI startups are currently experiencing security breaches. And funnily enough, the most common vulnerability is AI-generated code. Because AI-generated code has hidden security flaws. And here's really the part which should be infuriating to everybody. Well, remember our lawyer in Vienna. He read an article from Morgan Digital, LocalMind's sister company. And that article had published a blog post warning about AI security risks. So LocalMind positioned themselves as, we know better. We know what you shouldn't do. And doing this is the biggest vibe coding catastrophe we will hear here in the DACH region for the next weeks and months to come. So Thomas cannot believe it. He's sitting at home, probably not having slept for a couple of days. And it's Sunday, the 5th of October, just a few days ago, at 2 a.m. He's written a 30-page incident report. All the vulnerabilities, every screenshot, every customer that is listed. Now, traditionally, In our world, and I mean in the techie world, in the hacker world, what do? You would not expose such a thing. Like, imagine a hacker found a vulnerability on our website. They would normally contact us and say, look, guys, you have an open port or you have a vulnerability. Please go and fix it. And then normally you also give them a couple of days. Sometimes you give them 2 to 3 months to fix it. And then you follow disclosure protocols. But Thomas has a problem. He's got a dilemma. Should I contact the company? And he realizes, wait, this is not a bug. This is fundamentally incompetence. And you can't patch incompetence. They would have to rebuild the entire platform from scratch. And he's thinking, wait, this was open for 7 months. Who the hell found this open door also? And Thomas found it by accident. So actual criminals could have found it on purpose. And now he makes a decision which is very, very difficult to make for somebody like Thomas. He sends an anonymous email to each and every single LocalMind customer that he can identify. Urgent, your data has been exposed. And he explains it in the email. And he says, look here, LocalMind promised you local and secure AI, but it's not secure. They generated their entire infrastructure with AI vibe coding. They have a lot of security gaps. And by the way, this hole has been open for 7 months. And he attaches the report. Now, he takes on a further step. Now he acts like an investigative tech journalist from Der Spiegel. He sends it to the Austrian Data Protection Authority, to the German Federal Office for Information Security, and by Sunday afternoon, a few hours later, LocalMind's entire infrastructure is offline. And Monday morning, it explodes. So, German tech blogs explode. Sicherheitsfiasko beim österreichischen KI-Anbieter. Security fiasco at an Austrian AI provider. And remember Markus Reinhardt, our tax advisor in Vienna. He opens his email. 127 unread messages from panicking clients. His partner walks in and says, Gottes Willen, Markus, what the fuck did we do? But the scope becomes clearer over the next 48 hours because organizations that are affected now start coming out. For example, the Stadt Kiel and other German municipalities, multiple banks, not one bank, multiple banks, more tax advisors and medical facilities. Now, the problem that they all have is they have a few things. Under GDPR, each and every single one of these organizations faces potential fines of let's say, up to 4% of the entire global revenue. Not because they were hacked, because they trusted the wrong vendor. And LocalMind issues a statement. They admit to the breach, but they claim that their core platform was not compromised. Now, Thomas, he is pissed off. He says this is unacceptable because they quickly reacted and LocalMind said, look, we are going to migrate your customer data. Don't worry about it. We will rebuild a fresh secure infrastructure. And by the way, we will also implement proper security audits. Now, Thomas is pissed off because a few days later, people still believe LocalMind. So you know what he does? He demonstrates again that LocalMind is lying. He goes back into their system and he edits their own security status page. And he adds corrections to their official statements. 3 days later, Thomas still has access. And then the entire company pulls the plug. Everything goes down. Try to access LocalMind's website today. Website is offline. Status page is offline. Customer instances are offline. And what happens to the customers and their data? They paid a lot of money, but they are worried because their data is still over there. and they're not getting any answers. Now, when you look a bit at security experts, what are they saying on this? They're a bit saying that obviously this is new because vibe coding is new, and now we have for the first time a relatively large secure platform that has been vibe coded. So the breach is not only a textbook example of what you should not do in IT security, but you know what they're saying? Well, it's their own fault. They left the front door open and all the keys on the table. Another German expert on a German forum writes the following. He says, look here, if they were serious, they should have shut that thing down immediately and said, look here, we will redeploy clean servers, bear with us. But what did they do? They just stayed online. This is really, really wild. And now, Malcolm, what do I think about this entire thing?
The saxophone crooned a sly refrain, reporters chasing through the rain, coffee cold, the night wore thin, tracing the breach where it all begins.
So let's come back to Markus. Markus, the tax advisor in the 7th district. You know, we advise tax advisors. And you know what they will say? Very similar to Markus. I want to run AI locally. I don't trust Microsoft. And I'm thinking, but do you understand that Microsoft spends billions in cybersecurity? Microsoft employs an army of security engineers. And unlike the company LocalMind that still hasn't done an audit, they are undergoing continuous audits. If there was such a breach of Microsoft Copilot, I mean, probably the company could close. I'll tell you why. Because unlike LocalMind that is going to close, in the US, you would have congressional hearings. You would have class action lawsuits of billions of dollars and massive regulatory files. This will not happen to LocalMind. LocalMind is an Austrian company. They will get the slap on the back, and it's like, please don't do that. And probably they will open LocalMind Part 2 in 6 to 12 months. So geography is not a security. Just because you say, I want my data locally in Austria or in Switzerland or in Liechtenstein, it does not mean that your data is local and secure. And if we now continue looking at what actually happened, if you want to now go and evaluate an AI provider, start with the basics. Say, look here, wonderful, we want to use you. Could we please have your third-party security audit reports? If it's a serious company, they would have not spent 1,000, they would have not spent 10,000, they would have spent 100,000 euro on such a security audit report. Ask for it. And if they don't have it, walk away. Ask for certification that matters. SOC 2 Type 2, we made an entire episode about it. GDPR compliance documentation, ask for it. And then, because they're hosting all your data, have your technical team talk to their technical team. Okay, how are my credentials stored? Whatever. How is my whatever? How is your incident response procedure? If they can't answer these details, please walk away. Now, let's talk about what actually happened and what you should do. Well, first of all, I'm a very, very strong believer of cloud-integrated AI. Microsoft Copilot or Google Workspace is probably still today one of the safest ways to use AI. Again, why? They have the continuous audits, they have strong security updates, etc. And they have a strong track record, not since 6 months or 9 months, like LocalMind, but for decades. Now, the next one is, if you really don't want to work with them, then use a cloud AI platform, whatever, AWS Bedrock, OpenAI Azure, Google Vertex AI, etc. Why? Because in this case, what you can do is you can still use kind of the big models, but you can customize the cloud security. And if you truly, truly want self-hosted open source, then probably do it at home. I mean, in your office, but then you're responsible for all the security. And that's crazy. Because remember, you are responsible not only for the physical security, that is not just a door that anybody can break into, but you're responsible for all the patch updates. You're responsible for the GPU infrastructure. You're responsible for everything, that no data leaves your infrastructure. And that, my friends, is the key insight from the LocalMind disaster. If you think local and secure is what you need, this is pure marketing bullshit. Okay? It's very, very difficult. And just because you run AI on-prem does not make it secure. LocalMind was local. Yeah, it was local. It was hosted here in Austria, actually 2 hours from where I live. But it was the opposite of secure. But Microsoft Copilot, they process data in the cloud, and they have an actual AI security architecture.
Binary trails, the clues were clear, but the AI's logic, oh so queer.
It's January 2026, and Markus Reinhardt is now sitting in his office in Vienna, and he's probably using Microsoft Copilot to summarize client tax documentation. He does not like sending his data to Microsoft, but he probably sleeps better knowing that it's processed by a bigger company. Unfortunately, he had to pay 47,000 euro in incident response cost. And he probably avoided GDPR fines. Why? Because he could probably prove that they conducted a reasonable vendor due diligence before they chose it. And Thomas, the detective who has uncovered everything, is probably still anonymous. Until today, he still hasn't revealed his identity. It's a smart move if you think about it. But these 7 months where the system was open, there's probably evidence of suspicious access from IP addresses in Eastern Europe, in China, maybe in North Korea. But if Thomas hadn't blown the whistle, it would have continued. And LocalMind, probably, like we discussed, they're rebuilding under a new entity, new people, and to be honest, they might have even survived it. And the real lesson for today's story is, guys, the AI revolution is real, okay? Things are going to keep moving very fast, and things are also going to break. Not only social media apps are going to break. Larger IT and AI infrastructure systems are going to break. And these might handle your future prosecution files, medical records, and financial data. So yeah, there you go. Malcolm out.